Morning peeps, good morning everyone, how's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Alright, let's quickly talk about Dereck Chisora beating Joyce at the O2 Arena last night. I say quickly because my flight takes off in about 3 hours time, so we do need to get out of here very sharpish. Look, I'm a very happy man, and that's not being disrespectful to Joe. I respect Joyce a lot, but as you guys know, I'm a big Dereck Chisora fan. I probably worry about him too much, but that's because you build a relationship up with a fighter that you've supported over the years as much as I supported Dereck Chisora, and you just want to wish him the best of health. But look, before the fight, I have to put my hands up. I thought Joe would get the job done. I thought Joe would come on late. I thought it would be a bit too much. I thought the pressure would take its toll, and I thought he would get a late stoppage. And there were times in that fight I thought that scenario was going to play out. I thought sort of rounds 6 to 8, I thought that Joe was on the front foot and Chisora sitting on the ropes was a bit too much. But every time you felt like Joe was getting on top, Chisora would throw a big overhand right and a big body shot. And you're like, okay, Chisora is still there. Chisora is still there. And man, there's still life left in the old dog. There is. I hate to admit it. I don't want him to continue. I think he still wants to have, one or two more. He spoke about going to Manchester and having a fight in December, which I almost feel is too soon. But yeah, he got the job done. He got the job done. Obviously, that knockdown in the 9th round, was it the 9th? Yeah, it was the 9th, right? Was super important. Got the job done. What was it? 96-94 on 2 scorecards, 97-92. I think that's a fair reflection. Look, I think the fight was difficult to score. I thought Chisora landed the better single punches, maybe the eye-catching punches, just because Joe doesn't move his head at all. We're going to get to that. But you did feel like Joe's pressure deserved to be rewarded as well. Like Joe was on the front foot and maybe not landing sort of the significant and the eye-catching punches, but he was still landing. I mean, you only have to look at Chisora's face after the fight. I mean, this guy was still landing shots. But I thought the fight was scored correctly. I thought Dereck did enough to win. And that's probably his biggest ever victory. I was thinking about this. What's his biggest win? I think prior to this, maybe Carlos Takam, because I think Carlos Takam at the time still had quite a bit to offer. So maybe still Carlos. I think once it's all said and done, we'll look at the Carlos Takam win as probably the biggest win. Joe's at the end, Kubrat Pulev at the end. But on paper, maybe this is the biggest win on paper. But I think if you kind of study it a bit more, I think Carlos is a big win. I think we need to study what's happened to Joyce. Like, it's astonishing. It really is. Again, prior to the Zhang fights, and maybe those 2 fights just completely took it out of him, or maybe that fight, especially the last one, was just an accumulation of all the punches that this guy has taken in the last 3 or 4 years that people applauded and lauded. Like, oh my God, he can run for anyone. He can run for a brick wall, the juggernaut. Maybe it's just a case of that's now no longer. And it was clear, actually, that's no longer. It's astonishing. Like, again, a year and a half, 2 years ago, you're putting him in with any heavyweight and you're thinking he's got a very, very good chance. You're not putting him in with any heavyweight thinking, yeah, he could land a big one. No, you're thinking, my God, they're going to have a nightmare with him. Now, he got beat by Chisora. And I say that, without being too disrespectful, but, I mean, this is Chisora that's, 40-41, not coming to the end, at the end, and just, I'm so surprised. Honestly, I'm so surprised. He's done. Joe's done. I mean, look, he can still continue and he can still be a bit of a problem for some heavyweights. But the Joe that we thought we could maybe get into the top 5, no. I just don't see it anymore. He gets hit. I don't think I've ever seen a heavyweight, especially a top tier heavyweight, and that's what he was. Some might argue and say he still is. I don't agree. I don't think I've ever seen a top tier heavyweight get hit so easy. I just find it astonishing. And I mean, Ismail Salas is nicking a living. He's nicking a living. Like, what's he done or improved? Like, I'm not joking. He's done nothing. Like, I could be in the corner, and I don't want to be I try not to be disrespectful anymore because, you see these trainers out there and you speak to them and you know how difficult the job is, but he's done nothing. I'm sorry. Zero with Joyce. Like, no head movement. Still, no head movement. It's still just the same way of walking forward that he's had since he turned pro. Like, it's actually astonishing how there's been zero improvement. Zero. And yes, he's winning fights, but even in the wins, he's still taking so much punishment to the point where, okay, we need to maybe fix up a few things here. We need to change a few things because, shit, Joe, you're getting hit too much. Nothing. He still gets hit and hit and hit. Honestly, it's incredible. It's incredible. And I feel like, obviously, look, Joe has to take some responsibility because that's just his style of fighting. And he has to kind of, okay, look, after certain fights of Ishmael, it's not working. Okay, Ishmael, look, I need to maybe improve on a few things. Like, Joe is an intelligent person. He's not dumb. He's an intelligent human being. Ishmael, we need to work on a few things. If you can't, I need to move on because there's been zero improvement. And I feel like I'm saying all this and, you take away from Dereck, but I just can't believe how bad, like, defensively he is. Even going forward, like, he just goes forward in a straight line. There's no angles. There's no cutting off. Mate, it's so bad. It's so bad. And this is what happens when you dine out on having a solid granite chin and you no longer have that. What have you got else? What else have you got? Sorry. What else have you got? It's almost like those big punchers, right, who dine out on sort of being the biggest punchers. And when they land their biggest puncher and the fight is still in front of them, okay, what are you doing now? What are you doing? Oh, that's all you had? You need a bit more than that. At the top table of boxing, you need a bit more than that. Like, just having one asset isn't going to get you to the top. And when the going gets tough and that's all you've got, you're going to be found out. And unfortunately for Joe's been found out. It's that simple. He's been found out. Look, Joe can still continue. After the fight, he asked the crowd, do you still want me to continue fighting in the crowd? To be fair, said, yeah, he'll be in fun and exciting fights if he still wants. I fear for his brain cells. I'm being serious. I'm not joking. I feel for his brain cells because, again, he gets hit too much. But if he wants to continue fighting, he'll get fights. He'll be in exciting fights because he fights one way and it's going to be exciting. But Ishmael Salas is almost a disgrace when it comes to what he's done with Joe because, again, he's done absolutely nothing. As for Chisora, obviously, look, he wants to fight again in December, which seems far too soon. Again, he took some punishment last night. You need to rest up. He spoke about going to Manchester. Look, Chisora's on a bit of a run, I mean, say what you want. I mean, his last 3 fights, I think, have been Gerald Washington, Kubrat Pulev, Joyce. That's solid. That's solid, man. So I don't know if he stays at that level because I would kind of group all those guys together now. In terms of age, in terms of wear and tear. I don't know if he fights someone like that or he maybe has one big one. The one that springs to mind, and I think it's an obvious one to make, is Dillian Whyte. It's Dillian Whyte, the trilogy. I know they're a bit more friendly, but that friendship can be put to the side very quickly with those two. I think you might go down that route. Chisora versus Dillian Whyte, I think would do really, really good numbers in Manchester, whatever arena is, the AO arena is the Co-op arena now. I think that's the obvious fight to make. But look, love Chisora. Perfect fight to go out on. He isn't. He's going to have a couple more. I think if it is one more, 2 more, let that one more be Dillian Whyte and he goes out with that because that there will be fucking violent. That'll be violent. And I think both guys will get paid well. And I think we've been asking for that trilogy for a while now. I don't know if you guys remember how the second fight ended. Chisora was actually doing very, very well in that fight. The referee took a point away, which made Chisora then rush his work and he got caught with a hook. Do you remember that? I remember it like it was yesterday. So look, good luck to him. On the undercard, very quickly, congratulations to Moses Atalma. Marius Vac is obviously no longer Marius Vac, but still, to get rid of Marius Vac just like that, calling it now, Itoma, I think, would beat Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark. Now, I really do. Don't get me wrong, tough fights. Wardley, tough fight. Fraser, tough fight. But I'd chuck him in with both of them right now, and I'd be shocked if he didn't win. Like, if he were to get knocked out or beat up, oh my God. I think he would win. I have so much belief in him. I think he could be the future of the heavyweights. He's not, and he's no longer undersized either. Like when I sat down with him, I was like, geez, you're still growing. You're a big guy. What is he, 230, 6'4"? It's not small. It's not small. I mean, yes, guys are walking around 6'7", 6'8", but 230, 6'4" is not small. That's a big heavyweight. So, yeah, good luck to him. Freddie Roach, very proud of the work with Jaime Munguia. Yeah, he should be. Couple of good fights. Canelo, obviously, John Ryder. I don't know if Freddie was there for Derevanchenko. I can't remember, but if he was, that's a good run. Derevanchenko, John Ryder, Canelo, that's good. That's solid. And he was good in that Canelo fight. I said this a couple of days ago. Unfortunately, just ran into a good Canelo that night. All right, let's have a look and see if there's anything else. Claressa Shields won yesterday. Barely breaks sweat en route to a knockout win. I feel bad saying that no one cares, because you do care. I mean, Claressa's got a fan base, but I never, ever knew who her opponent was. Never heard of her in my life. I don't know what Claressa does. I don't know what she does. She might hope that there is someone coming out of the Olympics that might be a superstar, and eventually that's the route. How old is Claressa, very quickly? She doesn't look old. I'm guessing she's about 31. 29, young still. So maybe, the hope is that someone from the Olympics comes out with some hype, a bit like Claressa, all the talk, all the chat, maybe. Someone, should be hoping there's another Claressa. And that girl then comes with all the talk, all the smoke, and they start to build something, because there's not much Claressa can do here. She's not going to do anything in MMA. If you think she is, then you're a bit delusional. She's not. It's very difficult to get that ground game and to learn kickboxing and judo and everything you need, wrestling, and that's very, very difficult. I mean, she could fight Savannah in MMA, which is just why would they fight in MMA? It's so stupid. I know they're both signed to the PFL, but it just doesn't make sense. So look, we'll see what she does, but good luck to her, because she deserves to be in big fights. This is why, and it's not her fault that I say Katie Taylor is the greatest female fighter of all time. Like, Claressa's accolades outweigh Katie's, but Katie's been in and around weight classes where there are so many fights, so many girls from 130 to 135 to 140. That's it, right? That's the size. Whereas Claressa, unfortunately, this isn't the fights out there for her. So what can you do? All right, guys, girls, very quickly, I've got to catch a plane, so I will speak to you guys very, very soon on the next one. Peace.